welcome back, lords and ladies, to Citizen Sleeper. In the last episode we drove the story forward, and it's developing at a pace, and now we just need to finish some additional quest lines. Now this one isn't much use to us, unfortunately. Not a lot we can do with it, so let's put the one in here. Extract some extra data. Earn ourselves a little bit of money. Nothing outlandish, but we do have some things that we can do now. Okay, so with that done, those things are ticking over. We're running a little bit low on scrap, but that's okay. Let's throw a little bit of money at the cat. Let's end the cycle. And that's a bad hand straight off the bat. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Our scrap is almost out, so we're going to have to go and do some mining to get some more. Which isn't too hard to do, to be honest. We're not on a timer right now, so it's not a huge issue. That's growing over. Out on the flotilla, we have this one here, which is basically flux data. And he needs 6s, if I remember correctly. So, to get it, we will need to re-roll. This is about getting information about the events playing out on the eye. So where is the last data module? There's one around here. Oh, it's not here. It's up on the ring. There we go. That needs a 6. So extract the data. I'm going to re-roll. Not the best roll I ever had with the dice, unfortunately. So I'm going to tap some yet again. Resource nodes. Which will give us a bit more money coming in. Not a ton, but it's one of the ways you can use low roll dice to basically get what you need. And we earn ourselves a nice 40 credits. Which, to be honest, at this point in the game, it's not that I'm self-sufficient, but it's enough that I can get by with what I have. We are going to go into the wastes. It's dangerous, but it's the best way to get the parts we need. Just to tide us over. Yeah. Got some scrap. A little bit of energy loss is fine. Not too worried about that, because I can just throw a little bit of money at the problem and heal ourselves up. Okay. Let's rest. Okay. The shipment is coming of mushrooms, so we can get that done and underway. Okay. Go to the doctor. Get another pill, which is fantastic. Oh, wrong thing, sorry. The merchant ship shouldn't be in yet, or even if he is, he shouldn't be that deep into his clock, so... Can't be bothered to I suppose I should. The thing about this game is that you really have to maximize every roll of the dice you have. Every single dice you have to be using it to its fullest, otherwise you're not getting the most out of it. So what we really need to be doing is that you never waste dice, even if they're like nat ones, because we've neutralized all the AIs and everything on the system that can hurt us. It's really much more beneficial just to use every single dice you have just to gather resources, just to keep yourself going. Because it's much easier that way than it is to do anything else. Right. Let's keep our condition up. I shouldn't have done that. Brain was not working. What was I thinking? I mean, it's not the end of the world. I have enough resources that I can get by. The merchant hasn't turned back up yet. We've got enough dice to make everything work. Okay. Let's get across before the game decides to throw something at us again and get the story rolling. Right. Let's give him what he needs. Okay, Peaky. You watch as Peaky works on the flux data. The node's unfolding flowers now, giving in to Peaky's increasingly sophisticated decoding protocols. Seeing data like this as an image on the screen is almost unrecognizable representation to you. It's nothing like swimming amongst the nodes and threads. Despite this, Peaky has proven himself to be more than able to handle these complex data structures, even though its limited representational paradigm. Daedal's hissing interrupting your flow of thought. You turn to see Essie enter. Let's go with that rough day. She looks up and meets your eyes, but doesn't respond. Essie stalks into the bay, head down. She looks tired and not in the mood to talk. How's the weapon hunt? Peaky asks without turning from the screen. Slow, unsuccessful, tedious. Essie slams a bag down on a crate and hops up to sit on it. You still unpacking the balls of yarn? With the sleeper's help, Peaky smiles. They bought me some good stuff this cycle. Maybe they could help you find the weapons you were smuggling. It's clear Essie doesn't appreciate Peaky's tone. Still looking, you say? Essie replies, and whoever took them better be making the most of their rapidly sorting lifespan right now. Essie, Peaky cuts in without looking away from his console. We talked about this. This is my mistake, Peaky. I'll fix it how I want. Essie folds her arms. I know one of the factions of the flotilla has taken them. I just need to find out. Peaky holds up a hand. Shh. They lean in towards the screen. Son of a... What, you say? They hid it in the wave of wave. Peaky is whispering to themselves. It's a lie. They lean back in their chair. Essie crosses over to look at the screen. Alive? Well, it's growing, it's processing, it's quietly working away in the dark. Look. You cross over to the screen and stand beside Essie. In it you can see that Peaky has all 4 nodes decoded, and the patterns of shadows from inside them sit on the screen like a dark stains. Then you notice it, the movement. The thin threads across from one screen to another. As you watch, you notice that the movement only ever happens in your peripheral vision, as if this shadow knows it is being watched. This is how the other flux nodes appeared. Peaky rubs her eyes. They weren't fluxed by the wave, they were corrupted after the effect. This shadow that entered in the wake of the wave, it's corrupting them. But it made the corruption look like the result of the flux. It's a sleight of hand. Peaky runs a hand through his hair. The flux wave is so massive, so complex that it opens up the systems to attack, as it reconfigures exposed systems. The shadow is broadcast. As it reconfigures the systems, this shadow is implanted inside. The wave from the CAN channel is a brutal force way of hitting every system in Helion. Once the systems are valuable, Peaky looks pale, the eyes reflecting the screen. The flux isn't what is attacking the systems, it's the siege weapon, a Trojan horse. Then this thing takes over. Peaky sits back in their chair, and it's already on the eye. Wait. Essie rubs her forehead. You're telling me there's a CAN channel in this system? Shit, Peaky isn't listening. This is bad. We had to talk to someone. Peaky looks desperately to you. Helena. Is that wise? Essie cuts in. Havanage hasn't exactly made good decisions lately. They are the station's administrators, Essie. Peaky is desperate. They need to know. The argument rages between them, and as you watch them shouting, you feel sick. After a while, they stop, running out of things to say. An unsettling silence descends on the bay. I need more time, Peaky says quietly. I need to look at the solutions, try to build a case, collect the evidence. We mess this up. They look down at their hands. Essie goes to speak and then thinks better of it. Not a word, Sleeper. Peaky meets your eye. Don't tell anyone until they are ready. They sigh. With the tension amongst the refugees, Sol won't be ready to hear this, and Helena and Havanage are still mired in some kind of crisis. We tell Havanage they are likely to react badly, and even with the flotilla stabilized, Sol is not going to react well to this. I need time to build a case. You're too twisted up in this, Peaky, Essie says quietly. This is not our place. We don't owe... Stop, Essie. Peaky slumps in his chair. Stop. You leave them like that, exhausted and troubled, and head back out into the Pilgrim Seed. When you close your eyes, you think of those shadows, that movement at the edge of your vision, something dark growing in the station like a parasite. You feel sick, your vision blurs. What comes next? You stop in a corridor and take a breath, putting a hand on the rumbling metal wall. For now, the eye still spins. For now. Okay, so we are in a world of hurt. So somebody's messing with something. It could be a rogue AI. It could be a faction out in the universe, basically planning against us. I want to get Icebreaker up to +2. Endurance is a pain, but we can get around it if the rest are at +2 or okay. Clambering Burr escaped XPR ship. Episode Refugee completed. Thank you for playing. This episode's story of the Flotilla continues in the episode Purge, coming early 2023. Okay, so folks, a bit of a shorter episode than normal. When the next episode comes out, we shall continue the story. But yeah. Interesting indeed. I do love the setting of Citizen Sleeper. In my honest opinion, this game feels very, very much like what I wished Cyberpunk, the recent game, was like. The issue I have is that as buggy and glitchy as Cyberpunk was, the main issue it fell down on was that the story didn't feel like a Cyberpunk story. It had elements of it, but it felt underwhelming. This kind of grandiose unfolding conspiracy is what you sort of want from any kind of sci-fi sort of narrative story. Is the thing I always believe with the issue that Cyberpunk had was that it had the main problem of you are sort of like a fly on the windshield kind of thing. Like you're just like a very average person that, well, depending on your story, you're considered to be like an average person at the start who witnesses something they should not witness, and it goes downhill from there, and it basically suffers from only you can save the world syndrome. In this one, it's more along the lines of there are like multiple little threads that you all pull on, and those threads eventually lead you to a much bigger thing, and it's not just you that's trying to solve it, you're just a part of the puzzle, which I like a lot more. I like this narrative that Citizen Sleeper has. The narrative and the world setting and the lore setting of Citizen Sleeper is really good. I didn't even go into the fact that you can actually, there are sort of information notes, I believe, somewhere floating around that gives you like, there might not be, I don't know, but the game, I love the lore setting of this. I really think that they should expand the universe of Citizen Sleeper, because this is great. I love the sort of the D6 system and all this stuff going on. I'd love to have it as a much more sort of open like setting to explore and have more adventures in. I hope they do that. I hope they do like a Citizen Sleeper 2 with it being like a much more like wider, expansive setting that you can play in. But overall, I do like this game a lot. We will come back to it. The only thing I will say, if I am being honest, is that by the time you get to like this point in the game, which they consider to be like late game content, the classes, the individual classes don't really matter. Like I played like a mechanic to start off with, and literally the thing is now at this point in the game, I'm pretty much a super jack of all trades. There's nothing really unique about your class in this game. There is at the start, but the moment you sort of get beyond the midpoint, it stops being like a unique class. That's the only thing I will say. I wish that the classes felt more unique. Like maybe you got different starting bonuses. Like for example, maybe you had more scrap from playing the scrapper class, just innately so, more than the other classes when they were upgraded. I don't know. It just feels that by this point in the narrative, you're just good at everything. So there's nothing really sets you apart from the other two classes. Besides that, there isn't a lot, to be honest. The game's really good. I like the UI. I like the narrative and the story, and just the cleanness of the display. So there's not a lot of junk floating around. There's not a lot of things cluttering the screen. I like it all. If I was going to be negative about some things about this game, I would basically say, one, I'd like it if the classes felt more unique from each other. That's the only thing I will say. They sort of all blend in at this point in the game, and you just feel like a very competent jack of all trades. Two, I would like it if they tied in, especially with the DLC story, it would be really nice if they tied in characters that you've already met on the station and have completed their stories. It'd be nice if they popped up, because they don't really seem to. Once you've completed a story arc in this game, that character basically disappears and you never see them again. Like, we're talking about data corruption on the station, and there's no mention of the AI, like of the like navigation AI that you help, or anybody else, like your friend that's basically in programming. Like, why wouldn't he have noticed this stuff creeping into the system? Like, there's no sort of crossover with earlier content. It's all very modular and it's all very separated, which is something I would say is slightly one of the downsides of this game. Once you clear a story section, it's pretty much sort of like you're one and done. And I find that a little bit disappointing. I'd like it to be more sort of tied in. I'd like just to go back and talk to people in the game, to be honest. Like, just like maybe just as a way of like getting your energy back, sitting down with a friend and something and discussing with them. I don't know. I do think they could sort of use the game could use a bit more sort of flossing out in that capacity. Like, interconnect some more of the previous characters into the ongoing narrative to make it feel sort of less modular, slot in, slot out. But that's me. So this has been Citizen Sleeper at Cornish Let's Play. When the new chapter of their story is released, we will come back to this. But for now, I shall see you all next time. I've been Cornish-knight. Goodbye, everybody.